Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Podcast. Yeah, you can put the beer bat away. Cubs blow an 8-0 lead in the 6th inning and lose 9-8 to the Padres.
They technically blew it in the 8th inning, but the comeback started in the 6th.
Yeah. But they were up 8-0 in the 6th.
Credit to me for being technical. All right.
I may have said something about we'll be here all night if they blow this lead. Yeah. Sure enough. Listen, I mean, I thought that the eclipse was going to be the most memorable thing about today. Now it will be at the end of the season. If you're looking back at bad losses, I guarantee you this one will have a huge asterisk next to it and might be number one on the list.
It's playoffs by a game.
Well, it's like how we look back at the Astros game last year
on my birthday.
On our birthday, the blown lead there, like this. Yeah. Very similar feeling. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the blown lead was last year. Was it like 6 runs, something like that? Yeah, I mean, obviously it's just 8 runs, but very similar feeling. It's even earlier in the season, but you get the very similar feeling. That's a tough one to swallow for sure.
What'd you say you read it? That 22 years since they've blown an 8-0
Yeah,
lead?
that's what Kyle, a.k.a. the setup man, tweeted.
Sure.
Let's just believe
I'm
it.
not even gonna fact check that.
Let's just call it fact, all right? 22 years. It's the last time they blew with 8-0 lead, I guess. I guess for me, I don't really have much to say. I guess I'm in kind of shock.
Did Counsell leave him in too long?
Yeah,
Assad, did he leave the ass man in too long?
Yeah,
Question number 1 of the night.
That's the first. Yeah.
And I think yes.
Yeah, I think all three of us would agree with that. I guess my overall...
and I'm not second-guessing it.
Right. My overall feelings from this game is that, if I have to look back, if they miss the playoffs by a game or two and I have to look back at a loss like this, it's just going to make me remind everyone or emphasize even more why not doing enough in the offseason can lead to something like this. And I felt good. I feel good about the bullpen before this game. I still feel optimistic that by midseason they will all find their roles. However, you don't have a lot of proven guys in there except for Nearest in general. And now Merriweather's hurt, and even he was a question because it was still only 1 year for him of being really good. And as we've talked about before, bullpens are volatile, so maybe what I'm saying, just throw it out the window because baseball is stupid, a stupid sport where crazy shit happens, chaos happens. So anyway, we're going to talk about the bullpen plenty in this hour of doing this, but my overall thoughts is you just can't blow an 8-0 lead, brother. Like you just can't. If you are trying to be a playoff team, if you're trying to win this division, which, by the way, is off to a good start this season. Only the Cardinals are the only team under 500 in this division to start the year. The only division in the National League that has almost every team above 500 start the year. How long that will last, I don't know. But if you're trying to do all these things, you just can't blow 8-0 leads, man. Like you simply cannot. Good teams do not. And the thing is that you're coming off winning 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. You swept the Rockies, and now you go on the road. You're up 8-0 after being jet lagged. You're getting to San Diego late last night. You're jet lagged. You got the ass man coming out here shoving it for 5 innings. You score 8 runs in the first 4 innings. You avoid the Yu Darvish revenge game. Everything is working for you. And then, to me, this loss is a combination of Craig Counsell, Jose Cuas, and I guess Luke Little.
Well, I was to the Assad question. I don't know if there's a right answer, just because like you also have to think about the fact that Imanaga was only able to pitch 4 innings yesterday, meaning you did have to use 3 bullpen arms instead of potentially only 1 because of, like, obviously the rain delay. So that's an arm or 2 that maybe just isn't available to you. So you, like, maybe Assad was done at that point, but you also balance that with, like, can we get one more inning out of him so we don't have to go to the bullpen and, like, in
because
this
is what you're going to.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know if there's a right answer for it because, like, obviously, had it worked out, then we're not sitting here talking about the fact that he left him in too late. But obviously, it didn't. So, like, that's why that's a question now, right?
And it's like I read a book called The Tipping Point, right? And it's about the thing that then tips it, momentum or whatever it is, the other way. And it felt like after he left the game, and we all realized, oh, that was too long to leave him in, that nothing good happened after that. Nothing happened after that choice was good. And Niren is right. You can't blame this game on the offense. They scored 8 runs, but they also did nothing after the 4th inning to help really
shift the momentum.
Don't get me wrong. 8-0 should be more than enough. It's on the bullpen. It's on Counsell. It's whoever you want to put it. Who would you blame game? Go 1, 2, 3. Who do you want to put it on? I would put the offense third, but I would start with the bullpen. I'd say Counsell number 2, and I would say the offense number 3.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I don't even know. I wouldn't even put blame on the offense at all today. Like you said it. Like they had 8 runs. 8 runs should be enough to win. Especially when you go up 8-0, you chase the other team starter, meaning they have to go to the bullpen after 3 innings, right? Like they did what they needed to do to win this game. I don't know that I'd put any real blame on the offense today.
I'd take the offense out, and I think Charlie Ruby is right in Twitter. He says, the errors. Dansby's error is another one that kept the snowball rolling a little bit.
It was the first batter that Quas faced, which didn't help him. And it
was the one that Talkman, that wasn't an error technically.
That was 2 batters later. That was a hit by, I think it was Ha-Seong Kim who hit that ball, and Talkman just didn't cut it off, and it led to a triple, I believe. I think it was Kim. Correct me if you guys will correct me in the chat if I was wrong. But either way, like if he cuts off that ball, that probably saves a run. Like only 1 run scores on that play, I believe. Either way, who knows what happens after that? But
they didn't help.
Yeah, it didn't help. And I said this in pregame, like the rain delay yesterday ruined any kind of possibilities for tonight's game, really, because Shota was dealing yesterday, and he easily could have gone 6 if he kept going, right? And yeah, I know you said it, but I'm just emphasizing even more, like that really hurt them going into this game. I tweeted it last night, said it in pregame, like we are going to see on this road trip just how much the Craig Counsell effect works, because at the end of the day, guys got to go out there and perform. He's got to pull the right strings, put the right guys in. For some reason, he went to Jose Quas on Saturday, and he went to Jose Quas today. Why? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Nobody in the chat knows. Let me tell you, I've never seen so many people wanting somebody sent down to AAA.
I will say this, I like the idea of bringing Quas in
when you're up 8-2.
When you're up 8-2. Yeah. Right? And it didn't work out.
It is soft landing.
Yeah.
Well, it's up 8-2 and
warming up.
It's up 8-2 and it's cleared bases. There's no one on base at that. There's no outs, obviously. You have a full inning to pitch, but the home run is hit. Okay, but there's no one on base. Right. And this is what I said in pregame, where like bringing in Quas in a high leverage position, obviously there's a little bit of nuance to it because like the situation you need to do it, but also but like in a general sense, like Quas has to for me still has to earn the high leverage spots, just because we know that he did have some bright spots last year too, but also some down spots, and that was the thing as he pitched seemingly every single game down the stretch last year, was that he can have the wild, he can have the control issues. And so for me, it was like, until he can, to earning the high leverage spots was the thing. That's what I said in pregame. Today wasn't a high leverage spot. Maybe some momentum had shifted because of the home run, but you're still up 6 runs. It's already the 6th inning. You got to get outs. And it was 3 runs and 7 pitches, I think, something like that for Quas. It was pretty fast, so
you would have gotten 1 out if Swanson fields the ball.
Yeah,
but who knows what happens after that? Of course. So I'm not even really taking any. I'm not making any excuses for Quas. Like I know Barb's in the chat slandering me right now, and that's fine. She can have her one night. I've been right about Michael Busch. She can be right about Jose Quas tonight. Credit to you, Barb. Godmother. Big of me to give you credit. No. All right, something that you haven't given me at all over the last 3 months. Anyway, the thing is about what you're saying is like that was the best situation you could have brought Quas in. At the same time, though, even though he gives up those runs, you're still up 8-5 when he comes out. And Luke Little, who's been great, gives up the home run, right?
Bogarts,
And then
2-run to Bogarts.
and then and
like Nearest gets out of some traffic later,
right.
but even he like didn't look
in that
as
eighth
sharp.
inning. The eighth inning,
And
not
then
great.
Adbert, yeah.
And then Adbert comes in for a 5-out save, and I don't know, man. Losing Merriweather for sure hurts, and at this point, you know, like to me, the bullpen is a little taxed right now, and it's largely because Steele is hurt and Tyone is still on the IL. Because no one's been going deep except for Shota. Shota went 6 innings.
Assad went 6.
It's early, so they don't want guys to go.
Right. And so, like, you know, it's kind of what happened with Hendricks on Friday. Went, 4? Then Saturday, even though Wicks was great, he threw a lot of pitches that first inning. He was only able to go 4 2/3. And then because of the rain yesterday, Shota was only able to go 4. You know, like, it's a domino effect, and it leads to using your bullpen. And even though Palencia like kind of saved the bullpen yesterday, being able to go whatever it was, 3 innings, you've still used guys probably more than you would like early on this season. On top of the fact that Craig Counsell still hasn't, quote unquote, found roles for dudes yet. You know, so the injury factor is playing a role in this. I'm not making excuses. Again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just explaining that this is what happens whenever you have injuries. You're starting rotation, man.
And maybe those dudes aren't here yet. We'll get to Merriweather in a second. Let's get to the super chats real quick before we go to our sponsors. We've got 4 of them. What is that? Colby says, 1 game out of the playoffs a year ago. This one hurts. Thank you for the super chat. Born Empire says, take me to the middle of Lake Michigan, tie bricks to my feet, and let me sink to the bottom. When did we let the Bears coach the Cubs? What a choke job.
Goodness.
I did not send the super chat. That sounds exactly like something I would say.
Dustin for $4.99. Love Counsell, but he's realizing Williams and Hader making managing a bullpen a lot easier.
Hashtag Quas to AAA. Hashtag bring up Shaw. Hashtag love CHGO.
I was like,
Dustin.
what's Quastwa?
What did Steven say?
Dansby Swanson is making way too many errors that has kept the innings alive. What the hell is his deal? I mean, we have Barrett. We haven't
at least his second.
That was the second one
2 this year.
That double play ball that he got in Texas that led to, well, they ended up winning that game, but it made that game closer than it needed to be. And then tonight, again, like, I don't know what happens after that. Like, if he fields the ball and throws out, there's no one on base. I don't know if Quas gives up the rest of those hits and shit happens anyway. But, yeah, I mean, if he fields the ball and gets an out, that kind of slows the momentum down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
I would admit 10 games into the season, if you would have told me Dansby Swanson would have 2 errors, Nico would have that one where he flips
against the Rockies
from the glove, I would have been surprised that their record would be 6-4.
Right. And I've kind of like, it's almost like being a dead horse to this point. I have mentioned this multiple times. I said this on the show with Brennan yesterday, even after winning 8-1, because we were talking about the entire week. Like, the defense to start this year has not been what the Cubs defense was last year, man. That this team, the defense has to be good because they don't have a guy like the Padres closer pumping 100 going out here and striking everyone out.
True.
They don't have a lot of those guys in their rotation to begin with. They're like, they literally brand themselves as having this elite up the middle defense with Swanson, Horner, Cody Bellinger in center. Like, I'm holding these guys accountable. Swanson is one of the highest paid players on the team. Nico just won a Gold Glove. Bellinger, thankfully, hasn't had any defensive problems. But I'm just saying, as a team, like Friday, Ian Happ dropping the ball in left field that led to Hendricks having to throw way too many pitches in the first inning. Seiya giving me PTSD against the Rangers and then losing the ball in the sun.
I think losing
on
the sun
Saturday
is a little bit of like
whatever. I understand,
happens.
but either way, like,
Especially
Seiya's
during
played
his
at Wrigley Field enough times now. He's played at Wrigley Field enough times now where I feel like that's just. And also, I've given him credit. I've given him credit for being an improved defensive outfielder too. So it's like, I expect more, man. I expect more defensively from this team. So again, that the air from Dansby in the Padres comeback probably doesn't mean nearly as much. But Steven's right. Like, Dansby, he is the best defensive shortstop in the game, man. The best defensive shortstop in the game. There is no one as good defensively as him. He has to make that play. I'm sorry. That's just where I am with him. He makes too much money. He's built up his career based on defense, man. So clean it up, man.
PTSD from the end of last season is what this game felt like. Let me tell you about Lucy Nicotine. Made for your nicotine routine and delivered straight to your door, 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free. Choose from pouches, breakers, or gum. Choose your strength, 2 milligrams to 12 milligrams. 2 milligrams suitable for somebody who's using nicotine infrequently. 4 to 8 milligrams more likely to satisfy you if you have an everyday nicotine routine. And 12 milligrams might be right for you if you've been underwhelmed by the effects of other nicotine pouches. You could choose from mint, apple ice, espresso, mango, and more. Save yourself from the weekly gas station stop and sign up for a monthly subscription. You'll save 15% off, no commitment, cancel anytime. Lucy Breakers, well, they're nicotine pouches, but with a tiny capsule inside. The capsule contains liquid flavor that saturates the pouch before it's even in use. Break it in your teeth, get it situated, and boom, instant nicotine release when you need it. Maybe you use it for a midday slump or at the golf course or post-coffee, whatever it might be. How about this customer review? Best nicotine pouches I found, feel and taste great. Couldn't be happier with my monthly subscription. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/CHGO Cubs and use the promo code CHGO Cubs to get 20% off your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co and use the code CHGO Cubs to get 20% off and always free shipping. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Juicy Lucy. It's like a party in your mouth.
That's it.
That's what you were saying earlier.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I might need some tomorrow, that extra kick.
I could use a few right now to make me feel better, for sure.
The good news, outside of the fact that we're all going to die someday anyway, is the fact that my prize pick
Is
entry.
that good news?
That we're all going to die someday anyway? Yeah, that's good news. That's the good news of tonight.
Well, that everybody's going
that
to.
everyone is going to die someday anyway.
one was forever.
The other good news is that my prize pick entry, slapped tonight. I won some money on prize picks. All right. It's the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. The easiest and most exciting way to play DFS is just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your prize picks entries, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and then add them to your prize picks entry. Today, you have the skills. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps, and if you're just really, really freaking smart, because that would be incredible. You could have taken RBIs for Swanson, Bellinger, and Happ tonight. Yeah, that would have been profitable.
Could be a prize pick right there.
Can I say something? We did during our Bulls watch along yesterday. We did a screen share, so I pulled up my actual Prize Picks app and we put it on the screen, and we were taking input from the chat and from the guys on the set. Built our Prize Picks entry. The second time we've done it. It's the only time I've won Prize Picks, twice, while doing it live on the Studio A desktop.
You need a little help.
Screen share. 2 wins now.
There you go.
And you're the one that collects the cash.
Well, technically it is my account. So it was my risk, my reward.
Yeah.
Credit to you.
Credit to me.
Interesting.
Anyway, you could be like Joey and go to prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy, brother. Ugh, God, man. Thank God I won some money tonight, or else I really would be considering joining our friend Foreign Empire in Lake Michigan. That's one where
Tying bricks to your feet.
yeah. Except for me, I'd be like my guy Mike Presnowski, the guy who was in that video last week with the shirt off in the Wrigley.
Right.
He always whenever
Second most dangerous thing to looking directly at the sun today without glasses.
Yes. he always tweets this video of some random person riding their divvy bike into Lake Michigan whenever things are going wrong with the Cubs. That's something that would be what I do instead of, tying bricks to myself. I just ride a divvy bike right into the lake.
We have another. I would think it doesn't sound like a good idea. We have another super chat, right, Joey? Yeah. What do we have?
Let's hear it. Let's see it.
Matt Elke, $5. Rangers blew 33 games last year, saved only 30. Sabermetric stat of the night. I'm coping.
Okay.
That's a spin zone that we all needed, man.
No, turn around quickly.
I'm going to look at that. I'm going to stare at it for a few hours, and I'm going to talk myself into winning tomorrow. Undoubtedly.
Well, it brings he's coping, and he's trying to think of something positive.
I appreciate it,
Pre-game
Matt.
was positive. 6-3 without your top two starters. That's an incredible start when you consider you played the Rangers and the Dodgers. Now, I know the Rockies were in the middle, but if you'd have told me the Cubs were going to start 6-3 without Tyone and Steele, basically, I would have said, great. My question is, you have the win over the Dodgers. You believe that the Dodger vibes are long gone after this.
They were gone the moment that rain delay hit, man. That to me, because I knew Shota's not going to be able to go deep, which means the bullpen's going to be taxed and something like that. I did not feel good
across the country late.
Some people might think I'm not nearly as mad as they thought that I would be. The thing is going into tonight, I didn't feel good about this game. You're flying across the country to play in a different time zone with, you got into San Diego late last night because of the rain delay. That was 2 to 3 hours, whatever it was. And I'm frustrated. They blew an 8-0 lead, and they basically would have stole a game in my eyes and my own view of it and of how I felt going into the game. But now it's even worse going into tomorrow. You got to deal with yet another revenge game against perhaps Dylan Cease. And then, your bullpen's taxed. And you got Ben Brown going tomorrow, I think.
I don't know if they
haven't announced it, but it's probably going to be Ben Brown. That's
what it looks like.
Seems
So
like,
it's I don't feel good about tomorrow. And again, the vibes from winning that series against the Dodgers, I felt good about the Cubs. We're 6-3. We're off to a decent start. This is good. However, I understand reality. This road trip is not going to be some cakewalk.
It never is.
Right.
Never
and
is.
so it's all about to me, it's all about getting through April at 500. It really is about being 500, getting out of April, and then see what happens because the Cubs they're not healthy right now. One of your best relievers is hurt. Your best starter is hurt. You're mid-tier one who you just need him to eat innings is hurt, and he's not going to be back until next week. This is we all said this when Steele got hurt, it was the worst scenario possible. I know he can miss the entire year.
At least if you're looking at a month of April scenario.
But
for early season, he was the one player. There's a lot of players you can't afford to lose, but because we weren't sure about so many of the starters. Now, some of them done really, really well early in the year, but he's the one guy that you felt comfortable saying, I think he can do what he did last year. He was your clear ace, right? And so it was that's tough to lose every 5 days. So now you're losing Merriweather from the bullpen. That he's shut down for at least 4 weeks. Taylor McGregor says it could be 8 weeks with a stress fracture in his back, rib stress fracture in his back. Okay, and we talked about it pregame. Is that going to mean 60-day IL? How are they going to handle this? Who comes up and takes that spot? You've sent Wesneski back to Iowa to stretch out to be a starter.
And he just pitched the other day.
Okay, so
could be a CJ Edwards.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy.
So is it CJ Edwards? And then you have to come up with something for him, man. Maybe the 60-day helps you.
I say we did have a second super chat from Dustin.
Sequencing from Alzolay to Tatis was way too predictable. If I tell my wifey the next pitch will be a slider and home run, that's bad. # best show ever. # new CP. What's the CP mean?
Closing pitcher?
Closing pitcher.
I don't know,
okay,
though.
yeah.
Maybe.
But
appreciate all the support.
Maybe it was coordinating producer. Don't take that
I am
personally,
surprised that
Joey.
Godfather isn't in the chat telling us that the Cubs never got
I was
going
going
to
to say, the Godfather would be, coming at us.
Well, he's still recovering, so this game, I'm hoping he actually didn't watch this.
Yeah.
This is...
Well, with the Adbert,
I don't know.
He had a lot of success last year, but as Brendan
doesn't generate enough with
as Brendan's talked about like a lot, even last year, but throughout the offseason and stuff, like he doesn't have the we saw it with Suarez. Like he doesn't have what Suarez has.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Like Suarez, that last at bat against who was it? It was Garrett Cooper. It was like 6 fastballs. I think all but one hit 100 miles per hour. Struck him out swinging. Like it was.
He just challenged him.
Yeah, like I don't know that Adbert is the worst. He's not the worst option they could have for a closer on this team. But if you're talking about like, remember when we talked about like Emmanuel Clase all offseason, or even
good tonight.
Even
I watched him.
Even when Josh Hader was a free agent, right? Like if they were to have gone and got him, like those are the guys that you look at as like set it and forget it closer. If they blow a save, whatever, they're probably going to save the next one, right? Or the next 3 or 4. So like those are those guys. And like someone made the point like in the chat that like, Craig Counsell did obviously have the benefit of having Devin Williams and Josh Hader in his bullpen for so long that I'm not saying that his success as managing a bullpen was solely because he had those guys, but that definitely helps when you can work around the other guys, knowing that you have those 2 guys, whether it was Devin Williams in the 8th and Josh Hader in the 9th, or when they traded Hader and Devin Williams became the closer, well, you have those guys ready to close out the game. And that makes it easy. And Adbert is not at that level of those guys as Williams or Hader or, Class A or some of these other guys around the league. He doesn't have the kind of stuff that they do to really lock things down every day or every game, every time he goes out there. I think I still think he could be a very valuable piece in the bullpen, but it's 2 blown saves now into the season. I don't know. I don't know if this kind of came towards the end of last season or towards before he got hurt. I think he blew a couple games, and even when he was on that streak of saving a lot of games, there was a lot of like he was walking guys or he didn't walk a lot of guys, but there's some hard contact or was giving up a couple base hits every time he went out there. It never really felt easy. Yeah. So I look at it as like he's not the worst option the Cubs could have in that closer's role right now, but it may get to a point where they may need to go out and try to find one, or I was gonna say like or put Merriweather into that role, but he's obviously gonna be out for a while. So like it's
I still don't. I know we have a super chat. I still don't. In hindsight, I still am okay that they didn't give Josh Hader all that money.
Me too.
To me, it's all about finding a way to develop one, and that's why I've said so much about Luke Little. And I know tonight Luke Little wasn't good, right? But when you're talking about that high velocity, like that's what Luke Little has. Like he has the stuff to be able to be someone like that. It's just going to take time for them to get to him to perhaps be that if he performs, right? Like before tonight, he had been performing. It's just tonight was disappointing from him for sure.
There are 2 things I know about a bullpen for sure. Number one is bullpen losses like this one can crush the morale of a team. Now, I'm not saying it's happening 10 games into the season, but if it continued for a long period of time, that's the type of thing that kills the spirit of a team. I don't think it's happening to this group. Number 2 is that you could fix a bullpen pretty quickly if you really want to. Like a team that has a bullpen struggles in the first half of the season, you can fix at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So,
well, especially when you're a team with a lot of prospect capital.
That's right. So I while tonight is a frustrating loss for anybody that was watching the game, it certainly was. I wouldn't panic over one. I wouldn't panic over Quas. I wouldn't panic over Almonte. We're going to get to a super chat. I saw some people talking about scenarios that played up in the offseason. Let's do Mo real quick. Actually, Steven says no playoffs in 2024 means Jed is gone, right? Too soon to think about that for me, Steven. Mo says for $5, looking at what is happening now, again, only 10 games into the season, would you rather have Bellinger or gotten Montgomery or a starting pitcher?
Bellinger.
I'd still rather have the everyday center fielder right now. Yes,
center fielder or first baseman if you need him.
Or first baseman, correct.
100%,
I'd rather have the everyday player.
Yeah.
the thing for me,
Well, you could have
in
both.
hindsight, sure, it
Correct.
looks like you should have got Montgomery because Steele got hurt on the very first
Yeah, but you had no
day.
way of knowing
But
that.
you had no way of thinking
And
that.
you could have also traded good prospects for Shane Bieber, and you could be really
exactly.
But even in hindsight,
creek.
I'm not saying I would. Like,
No.
even in hindsight, if I'm the
Correct.
Cubs, I'm still taking Bellinger over Montgomery.
I'm just
If I have
saying
a
that's
choice.
why I think he sent that super chat. Like, I think a lot of fans are looking in hindsight related to that, and I get it. But I'm also, you're also, if you would have signed Montgomery, you're also blocking Cade Horton, other guys as well. So,
in hindsight, we should have had more blue moons tonight.
I'm
That's
with
what I should have done.
in some ways I'm with you, Mo. In other ways I'm not. Like,
Really?
in some way, in terms of the rotation, I like the rotation. I like the upside that it has. Like Jordan Wicks has been impressive. You just need to find a way to get him to go
Get
a little
length.
bit
You need
deeper
length.
into the game, right? And I know, the thing is, he's a rookie pitcher, and it's not always going to be easy for him. But like for two starts against the Rangers and the Dodgers, he's looked great. And the ass man was great again tonight. He's probably the biggest positive from tonight outside of the offense.
Should have had 11 scoreless innings this season.
Should have, yes. And then Shota has been great. Those are three starters right there. Two of them homegrown that you feel great about. And you hope that when Steele comes back, you'll be okay. Hendricks, slow start, obviously. I think he'll be fine because he's Kyle Hendricks, and he always is. But yeah, like the where we're at right now is largely just because the guys I just named, a lot of them just haven't been able to go deep enough. So you need the length. Maybe Montgomery would have been able to bring more length to you consistently immediately. Actually, I don't know about immediately because Blake Snell made his first start of the season tonight. I don't know when Montgomery. I don't even know if Montgomery's made a start yet. So like, who knows? But but at the same time, everyday center fielder, the value, he's been pretty solid for the Cubs. The defense, you get him every single day. Like, I get it. And also PCA wouldn't have been ready. We'd have Tauchman in center every single day, which is fine. But is it Cody Bellinger?
Cody Bellinger.
No. Like, it's I go back and forth with it.
Our
So
chat.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, "What is the ass man?" And Robbie said, "A proctologist."
Oh my God.
Well, it is late, so we know what Robbie's
To answer your question,
only
though.
after midnight.
The ass man is Javier Assad.
the ass man
Yes.
is
Javier Assad.
Yeah.
He shoves.
He shoves.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Anyway,
Luke,
I didn't mean to go on a little tangent there, but
Luke, you mentioned you didn't drink enough Blue Moon today.
No.
I have one right here. I cracked a couple during the game. Nothing goes hand in hand like baseball and an ice cold Blue Moon.
Yep.
Some beers can say they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball just go together, and no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon was created at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. It's the natural choice for opening day, 10 games ago, or the entire season long. Best choice. Nothing, even though I have it in a can right now, nothing's better for me than getting a Blue Moon, pouring into a nice chilled glass, getting the little orange slice,
Frosty mug.
throwing it in there. Yeah, no, there's nothing better than that for me. So a new baseball season deserves a bold, unique beer. From its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Blue Moon isn't just another beer. It's a whole different experience. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something one of a kind? It's bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual. Guarantee a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with a signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO to see your delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
If you missed our first Friday 120 Club Hangout, there's another one coming up on the 19th with Cody and Braggs. Game Time is the place to get your tickets and last-minute deals. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on Game Time's app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. I'm eyeing Anthony Rizzo's return to Wrigley Field coming up in September for sure, but listen, right now, let's be honest, even at 6-4, Cubs games are starting to look like must-see baseball in person this season. You get a view from all the seats in the venue with a panoramic shot. Priority last-minute deals save up to 60% off by buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, all of them. And zone deals, have you heard of this? You can save even more when you choose a section and then let Game Time choose the seats. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. For a limited time, all users can get a $20 off Major League Baseball purchase of $150 or more in the Game Time app when you use the code FIRSTPITCH. Terms apply. That's code FIRSTPITCH for $20 off from March 25th to April 14th. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Who's a reliever that the chat really didn't like over the last handful of years?
Quas.
That's not on,
Quas
that's
is the
not
first
on
one
the
that
team
comes to
anymore.
mind for me.
Schlitter?
That's not on the team.
Oh,
Mark Leiter Jr. for no reason in like 2022.
but also,
even though we kept sitting up here saying he was
I said
good.
like
Norris?
that's not on the team anymore.
Daniel Norris?
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Now I know
That's a good
it.
one.
Now I know how
He
to
was
reply to
pretty bad.
Jeff Everson's tweet.
Oh man, yeah, that was one.
Do we have more super
We
chats?
do have a couple super chats that I think I saw.
Give me Daniel Norris. Let's go.
All right, who we have?
Sorry,
Where
I'm
did
over
we
here
leave
sending
off?
stupid tweets.
So right here.
Oh, we got a
Matt's
bunch.
got $20. I'd want to see Adbert slider usage to start 24 versus 2023. I know it is a small sample size, but I feel like the slider usage is up to start the season. When it's on, it's on. But like tonight and versus Texas, yikes. Is Diaz from the Mets a target at the deadline?
That's a lot of money. I would guess no.
Yeah, that's what is it, $105 million?
I guess that's a no.
That's a yeah. But my guess would be no. Just
Not necessarily
Put this
for the
one up.
Cubs, but I don't know if the Mets want to trade him either.
yeah, I guess it depends.
I think Class A really is a possibility if the Guardians are out of it, but they're off to a
They're
good
in first
start.
place.
Yeah, they're off to a good
At
start.
the moment,
so.
in a bad division.
And he's significantly cheap for them. Like they really have no reason to move him unless you are getting like an insane haul. So like the only reason I say it is because Carter Hawkins and all of that.
I was
But
going to say.
that
Carter Hawkins link.
I'm not ready to think about like July bullpen acquisitions. This organization has pushed down our throats the pitch lab and developing pitching and all this stuff. And listen, they've done a pretty good job at it. You know, we've raved about Jordan Wicks, Javier Assad, Luke Little in small packages, Justin Steele. Like they've been able to develop certain dudes to a point to where we feel pretty good with them, right? They got to find. To me, the best possibility is if they can develop their own closer, because then you're not having to go give up a haul for one, and you're not having to pay one. You know, to me that is the best possibility, and also. To go off all of this, not just the closer, but the bullpen in general. Like, if you're going to rave about it and all of this, then option Jose Quas tomorrow and bring in a new guy. Because Quas clearly doesn't have it right now, man. And that doesn't mean that I don't think he can figure it out down the road or whatever, but he certainly isn't earning a spot on this team right now.
Let him go work on it.
You know? Like it
Probably doesn't hurt. Get a fresh arm at least.
Yeah.
He's one of the few guys in the bullpen that have options, and I don't know, man.
We have a
Sean
few more
says
super
you get a
chats.
bunch of
how's
super
that
chats.
pitch lab working for Wesneski and Keegan? That doesn't really seem like a fair argument.
It's not a fair
They've had a
argument.
ton of success with a ton of
I'll say-
ton of pitching. You know, they're not going to hit on every single guy, and every single guy is not going to
Not
be
every team
Yeah.
is going
an
to hit on every
ace.
single guy.
Every
And
every
also,
out.
like,
Cubs need
I'm
to
just
find
happy-
their 2022 Keegan Thompson.
I'm just happy Sean's not calling me low counts yet. Like it hasn't happened.
yet.
Yeah, no,
More
it'll happen
super
at
chats,
some point.
Yeah, we've called
So
him.
Mo, I called you that tonight.
Yeah.
Mo says, you can't never have enough pitching.
never.
I would rather trade for a bat and sign an arm. Imanaga has been excellent, but guess who else is as well? Stroman. We replaced Stroman with Imanaga, and we missed playoffs last year. Got to have arms.
Yeah, but they had no room for Stroman.
Also,
if they signed him.
you only got half a year out of Stroman, so like if you get a full year of solid pitching out of Imanaga, that's more than what Stroman was able to give to them because of the injury, obviously.
If they had signed Stroman, they weren't going to bring back. They weren't going to sign Imanaga.
But the general idea is like, yeah, that's you can never have enough pitching. Like that's what Jed. I mean, Jed says it all the time too. Like you can't ever have enough pitching. You can never feel comfortable that you have enough pitching. And I think he said it. I don't remember what day he said it, but that like anyone that, like any person, like front office personnel that will tell you they feel comfortable with their pitching is probably lying to you. Like. Because you just can never have it because injuries happen, right? Like we're 10 games into the season and they have 2 starters and one of their top relievers on the shelf for who knows how long, right? So, you can never have enough pitching, and I guess we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see, like, obviously they, with this Merriweather move, like I don't know. I mean, maybe he's not gonna go to 60 days, so maybe it's not with him.
No, but
like,
if it is 8 weeks, if they do think it is 8 weeks, then they probably should consider it.
right. So if they end up putting him on the 60-day, then that opens up a 40-man spot, and then, like to me, you could option Kwas for someone, and also like. As a Mastroboni guy, as a kind of a joke, basically, he's barely playing too. Like, whether it's whoever, all I'm saying is they could use some fresh arms. And I know they can, I know you can't option Mastroboni for a pitcher, but like you get what I'm saying. Like no one understands what I'm saying. Actually, I'm spiraling and now
spiraling.
okay.
Don't let him spiral. Let's
speak here for Sean real quick.
I'm just frustrated.
So Sean, just because we talked about his last comment about the pitch lab, he says my point is that you can't just magically rely on turning every average minor league arm into a valuable major league bullpen piece, and they have to add guys that have proven elsewhere. And that's not wrong.
That's fair.
And like we said, we'll see how it continues to shape out.
Yeah.
Foreign Empire, who's been on a roll.
This is what Cody needs to do.
Foreign Empire.
Don't spiral,
I took a
Cody.
cold shower and cried a little. I'm better now. Let's see how they rebound the next game. I don't think this happens again. Got to remind myself this isn't a World Series team yet. Go Cubs, go.
Now, I'm curious, did Foreign Empire take a shower and then cry, or did he cry in the cold shower? You're really sad if you're crying in the cold shower.
Maybe he had a blue moon in his hand, though.
Well, okay.
That sounds.
I don't know, man.
Dustin with a super chat. Sorry for the ignorance, but who's in the minors are top relief pitcher prospects in the Cubs system? Blue moon in hand. # Cubs win 2
Shout out.
in San
Shout out
Diego.
Dustin.
Let's question. Luke Little's up already.
Yeah, I mean, you honestly, like as far as depth goes, there's a lot more of like not technically prospects. Like you have Carl Edwards Jr., Richard Lovelady, Edwin Escobar. Like there are more. A lot of those guys they brought in on spring training invites that ended up staying in the system are probably who you're looking at as like if they need an arm to come up. Those are probably your guys. I mean, there are. I mean, we've talked about like Riley Martin, Ben Leeper, like even Cam Sanders. I remember Gary, our friend Gary, was really high on Cam Sanders, and he didn't. I think it was like his walk rate was just really high last year, but like some of those guys are still there, and obviously we've talked about Hayden Wesneski and Keegan Thompson who are on the 40-man. But yeah, I think as far as depth goes for bullpen, that's kind of at the closer to the top of the list of what you're looking at least at the AAA level. Yeah. Like guys will move through the system pretty quickly. Like Luke Little did it last year. He started at high A and was pitching in major leagues. You don't always know
who's going to end up going to the bullpen either.
Yeah, that's that too. Yeah. So, but still, yeah. So Luke Little's an example. I think Daniel Palencia may have started. He may have started at AA last year, but part of me thinks he may have actually started at high A. So like, there are guys that aren't at AAA yet that you could absolutely see hitting the major, or at least AAA, but closer to the end of the year. Right? Like guys have moved through the system pretty fast as they joined the bullpen. So I'm not ruling that out, but like if we're talking about right now on it'll be April 9th now.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at as far as depth goes. I think there was one more.
Yeah, Matt Holman.
How can you say don't panic? Almonte and Quas are awful. Neris and Alzolay are supposed to be guys, and they haven't been. Smiley is the best reliever. Yikes.
I just don't think the bullpen has been the biggest issue with this team. Like tonight, yeah, it wasn't good, but look at the rest of the games this season. Okay, maybe the game against the Rockies in which the Cubs won.
Well, I mean,
I would say the defense has been disappointing.
The defense has been my biggest issue, man. That has been my biggest
shocking.
thing.
Really,
right?
but it's a
now
10-game
we
stretch.
get consecutive games, like if the bullpen blows it again tomorrow and whatever, like sure we can talk about it. But like you mentioned, Almonte, he's been after that appearance against the Rockies, his last two appearances, he's been good.
Yeah, I mean those. The bullpen did pretty well against the Dodgers.
Quas is the only one where I think you can say that he hasn't been great. However, Brendan tweeting that video of Quas striking out Adolis Garcia against the Rangers, it made me feel things. But that's probably the highlight of Quas's early part of this season. But Quas is the only one in the bullpen right now that I'm like significantly worried about. I think Adbert will bounce back and Neris will be fine because he's proven it for years. I think like when how people talk about how momentum doesn't like it's not a thing. Yes. Like you could feel the momentum being a thing tonight. Like that crowd got super riled after Cronenworth hit that homer, and then the Padres followed it up with I think it was Machado getting on base because of the air, then a hit, and then an extra base hit. Like you could just feel the air coming out of the Cubs during that process. And I do think momentum is a thing when it comes to that. And you're on the road and your pitching staff is not at full strength right now. Like you're jet lagged, you're coming cross country. Again, not an excuse to blow an 8-0 lead, but I'm just stating that momentum is a thing in some ways. Maybe not as much things as some people want to use it as, but tonight it certainly looked like a thing. Like we all knew whenever Tatis hit that 2-run shot to take a 9-8 lead, I mean, it happened and Luke's like, all right, Joey, here we go. We know what we're talking about in this game. You were ready. You were like, fire it up. Let's start the show now. Like we just knew. We knew.
Yeah,
I went into the 9th inning with absolutely no hope. I sent the stupid tweet. My favorite part of the 8-0 lead was the friends we made along the way. I drafted the tweet with the stupid gif of me looking just dead in the air and do the stupid score graphic. The good news is we're all going to die someday anyway. Like I already knew, brother. Momentum is such a thing in some ways, right? Like so tonight sucked. It absolutely sucked. And if the Cubs plan on making the playoffs, they can't have many nights like this. It's a shame that it happened when you're coming off winning 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. But, you want to talk about managers. You want to talk about like how the managers like Craig Counsell are supposed to. They do what they do. They somehow manage to get wins somehow, some way. They bring the best out of everyone, or he does. Here's your first chance because coming off this loss, how do you respond tomorrow? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Sure.
He's getting paid
against Dylan Cease.
Potentially against Dylan Cease, right? Like with honestly, like going in tomorrow, like I feel even worse going in tomorrow after what happened tonight. And you got Ben Brown going tomorrow, who the Padres have never seen, so maybe that's a good thing. But like your bullpen's already taxed, and you're basically doing a bullpen game tomorrow. Or if Ben Brown isn't good early, maybe you leave him out there because you need him to eat innings.
That's tough.
And you're taking a loss anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it is not great.
All right, who you got? Because it's late. It's 12:35 in the morning. Here's who the picks were. Ryan had Happ. Joey had Bush. Corey had Nico. Cody had Morel. And I had Seiya. Okay, let's see. Who can we eliminate?
My guy didn't have any errors at third base tonight. That's another positive from tonight's game.
I'll take myself out
Bush
of the running.
is out. you're out.
Yeah, you know,
Your
Morel
Bush is
had
out.
I'll be
had
noble.
A really good throw, a really good play.
I think
Joey's out.
Big
with
of
the
me.
leg.
And he did have an RBI double.
Big of me to take myself out of the running here for this. Who you got?
Nico had.
The guy almost did hit
Nico
a
had
homer.
2 walks and a hit. So he's on base 3 times. He did run into an out.
Yeah,
That's
on
true.
the base paths.
So take
He had a
away
2
one of
point.
those. So he had 1 walk and a hit. Hap, Ryan's pick, 1 for 4, 2 RBI, 2 runs scored, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. Saya, my guy, 1 for 3, 1 run, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. It's probably
It's Hap.
just give it to
Hap.
me. Just give me the
It's
just
Hap.
give me the win.
It's Hap.
right. I
tonight.
don't see anybody else in there.
Just give me the win.
Listen,
I'll take
we
it.
should all feel guilty about taking any kind of win
No,
after tonight.
I feel no guilt whatsoever.
But the
Says
win
the,
is
the guy who gets to go sit in the press box. Ugh.
It's Hap.
Yeah,
Tap.
to work.
We'll figure out
Not
the
to
rest
watch-
of
not
the
to watch the
standings.
game.
We'll figure out the rest of the standings in a couple days. I'm too tired. This game has sucked all the juice out of me.
Let's just use this moment to, again, acknowledge the fact that Morel was good defensively tonight.
He had a really good play, running in barehanding. Was it Tatis that was running too?
I think so.
Obviously, is a very good runner. That's what like you're gonna get with Morel. Like that's what we've talked about. Like don't want to keep beating the Morel horse here, but like it's gonna be a little bit of a roller coaster with him, and he's gonna make really good plays like he did today.
2 straight days.
He'll
He was
probably
fine yesterday too.
if he makes an error tomorrow, it's not gonna surprise me. You know, like that.
That's what's
where
interesting,
we're at
though, right?
now.
Like, I'm not. I don't count opening day that way. So far, the most disappointing game, 10 games into the season, is certainly this one.
Yep.
And it was not Morel's defense that
Did not
cost
it's
him
not
the
reason
game.
that
It
cost-
was the
lost him
bullpen,
game.
maybe a decision, and a couple of errors.
yeah.
Swanson's error.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay.
It's early. It's April.
It
All
is
I'm
early.
saying is if you rack up a couple more games like this in the month of April, we will be looking back at them in September if they miss the playoffs by a game or two.
I mean, wins count the same whether it's
Yeah.
in April or September. So.
right.
And this is what we, it is what we talked about last year. Is like racking up the wins when you can, like early in the year, like just because you never know what's going to happen later in the season. So like games like this, feels like you have it wrapped up in the 6th inning. You need to close it out.
Speaking of closing it out, should we close it out?
Give us a like before you go.
Please hit the like
Give
button.
us a like. I
We got
see
235 people watching. We got 75 likes. Those numbers are
and 2 thumbs down, probably
make
from
any
Jose
sense.
Quas.
good one.
Gave it to us.
No
Or maybe
Masquas.
because they
He
just
listened to that and he
Right.
was like, I don't like
Por
these
favor.
guys. I don't like this chat. Thumbs down.
I'll jump in the Discord after we end
Oh,
on my way
man.
home.
You're going to do an extra innings.
Yeah, I'll go
Really
do-
want to stay up late.
If anyone, I got to drive home.
I should say
I'll
early
jump in the
'cause it's 20
I'll
to
jump in
1
the
at this
Discord for
point.
20 minutes. It's gonna take me 20 minutes to drive home, so I'll jump in the Discord as soon as I get in the car to go home.
You know what's even better than hitting the like button, by the way? I'll just say it because we're here.
Subscribe.
Subscribe is also great, but tell a Cubs fan. Tell a friend of yours, CHGO Cubs
Yeah.
Phone a
Podcast.
friend.
Almost every game after, basically 6 games out of the week.
Yeah, who do you know that's not hanging out with us?
Well, I mean, everybody I know is here, but for the people in the
I'm
chat.
saying in the chat. In your chat, who do you know that's not hanging out with us right now?
Right. Well, all the major Cubs names are here, but this is how we grow. So hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend. We always appreciate it. Makes it more fun on nights like this. Have more Cubs fans in the chat. Appreciate you all.
Yeah, and after a win, he
If
does a beer bat, just not tonight.
Matt says in the chat, like the real question is, where's Rick Sutcliffe? And
what we were
honestly,
talking
that would have
about
been
earlier.
that would have been
Yeah,
nice
that's
to
a
have
good trip.
tonight because Sut
got
would
pissed.
have he
He got
would have
pissed.
yelled a little bit. He
He
would have
got
given
pissed.
you the passion that you guys probably wanted from me tonight. So we lose tomorrow, I probably will be a little bit more angry than I am tonight, which is crazy because we blew an 8-0 lead. But
I was going to say, what was your favorite part of the eight run lead?
The McDonald's I got.
the friends we
McDonald's,
made along the way.
friends we made along the way, right here in the live YouTube chat. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast. Cubs lose to the Padres 9-8. We're back with another hour-long postgame after tomorrow night's show. Until then, therapy session over. Fly the W.
We all silly like the